who's in charge of your health? You. That why is our glutathione so incredible? Because we're talking about a product called NutriSwish, and it uses the hydrostat technology. I've been using glutathione since 2004, long before I met Stephen K. Scott and that. When I went to medical school, part of the reason I went was because of glutathione. I saw people healing. The doctor, my dad had 2 heart attacks and started taking a different glutathione product, and go, oh, whatever he's doing, keep doing. And so I want to talk a little bit about anti-aging. Telomeres, a lot of you have heard about this. In relationship to glutathione, low levels of antioxidants like glutathione can lead to shorter telomeres. When the telomeres get too short, they stop working. They are repetitive DNA sequence at the end of the chromosomes that help protect these chromosomes. So if that protection's gone, then the chromosomes can be damaged in the body. They're sensitive to inflammation and oxidative stress. There's that word again. So if those stressors promote the shortening of these telomeres, so that's not healthy. Leads to premature aging, and reduction of bliss actually causes a cessation of cell division, either senescence, which is it just stops working, or apoptosis, which is another word for the cell actually dying, some programmed death, dying a little earlier. So next slide. So we're science-based. So I just wanted to throw a quick, this article came out about 8-9 years ago about telomeres shortening during the aging cycle. So what I'm saying is there's proof behind what I'm saying here. So let's move on. Now glutathione. I've talked about it. I get excited about it. It's made from 3 amino acids. We have glutamine, we have glycine, cysteine. These are precursors that come together to build this amino acid. It is endogenous in the body again. There's a couple other endogenous antioxidants like alpha-lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10. In fact, we do include some alpha-lipoic acid in our product, helps the glutathione process. There's external antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E. Now, cats can make vitamin C, but we can't, so we need to take it into us. And again, it helps support the whole process here. And then there's another word that if you start going, oh, well, let me look at this research. Let me see if this guy's really telling the truth. So there's something called glutathione peroxidase, which is an enzyme. It's not glutathione, but it helps the production of glutathione. Enzymes like SOD, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase all support the production of glutathione. That could be a whole hour lecture just on that concept alone. So we're going to skip that. But these proteins help neutralize free radicals in the body. It helps balance the body. Glutathione, as we already mentioned, we lose about 10% per year. Electrons are donated to help fight the free radicals and oxidation. Now, oxidation is a part of life. It's a part of the building and breakdown of life and every aspect. So think of an apple. You take a nice organic apple, take a bite, tastes so good, and you let it sit out with that bite taken out of it. It starts to get brown after a short time. That's oxidation happening in the body. It's a rusting, and that's why you see the picture of rust. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's just part of life. But when you get too much rust going through, then all of a sudden you lose the enzymes and all the benefits of this great substance is gone. So it's a delicate balance here. So in our food chain, people go, oh, well, oxidation is bad. Let's put something in it that makes it stop. And so it doesn't oxidize. But the problem is, all of a sudden you take a bite of the apple and 2 days later it's not rusting again. It's like, well, what's going on? Because they stopped that process. That's because they're using artificial chemicals that we're taking a bite out of that's getting inside our body. Nature can't break it down. How am I going to break it down in the system? So these toxins are staying inside of us. And the body, you get too much of these artificial chemicals and it's very difficult to eliminate. Let's continue. So these toxins include mental and emotional stressors. They can weaken the body. Sugar is a very highly addictive substance. There's maybe 100,000 chemicals that are been identified out there. In the liver is where most of the action to break down this, using what they call cytochrome P450 process. It helps break down fat-soluble based toxins into water-based. And then once they're in water-based, there's other mechanisms to break this down. Glutathione's very key on that. The next slide will show you all that. But vegetables, high-quality protein, minerals, eating healthy, it's going to help that. So there's 3 phases in the liver, 3 basic phases. Phase 1 breaks down the toxins so that they can be eliminated in phase 2. So caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, steroids, hormones, estrogen, xenobiotics, pesticides, all this stuff needs to be broken down so the body can process it and eliminate it. And glutathione is key for that. Phase 2, there's actually 6 separate pathways that require antioxidants and other substances to break down. Only glutathione is essential for both phase 1 and phase 2. And just to let you know, if you have a glutathione and it breaks down phase 1, but then you don't have enough, the longer it takes to break down from phase 1 to phase 2, the longer that gap, it actually causes more toxins in the body and has more and damages the liver from that. So if you have enough glutathione for one but not for the other, that's a problem here. And then phase 3 is really about the elimination of it through digestion, other homunculus, the kidneys will help it, skin, sweating. Next slide shows a little bit different diagram of this. So this is just another thing of what I said. I've added a few of the essential nutrients. There's glutathiones involved in both. Cysteine in phase 2 also helps out on its own, and glutamine, glycine. Those are 3 amino acids that by themselves work together, and when they come together to form glutathione are also important of this. Next one. So I talked about the mitochondria about 10 minutes ago. Mitochondria is the engine inside the cell that helps create energy. It's like a little furnace. Intracellular glutathione actually helps clean up inside the cell. So these furnaces have less toxins to slow it down. It's like if you have a chimney, if you're not from Phoenix, we don't have chimneys here, but if you have a fireplace and you need to clean it out once in a while, because otherwise it's going to get clogged out. So glutathione helps clean that out. And ATP is made from ADP. It's a molecule that's constantly going in through the body, thousands of millions of transactions every second throughout every cell of the body. ATP is made a variety of ways. It leads to energy, how the body actually makes energy. So it's not like an energy drink that's going to stimulate your heart. This helps give you real energy. The Krebs cycle and the citric acid cycle is one process. There's 8 major steps in that. It's conversion of all these nutrients into energy, whether it's proteins, fats, sugars, and alpha-ketoglutarate. One phase of that helps convert glutamate into glutathione and then ultimately ATP. The electron transport chain is another process where this is located in the cell membrane. So each cell has a membrane going around the outside. You can see on the slide that the blue around holding the cell in. So that would be the cell membrane. The electron transport chain allows elements to get inside the cell, and including creates these free electrons that help make the energy. Glutathione helps maintain the structural integrity of these complexes here, these furnaces. So if you don't have enough glutathione, you get a deficiency in mitochondria, leads to impairment of electron transport team. You're going to have less energy in the body. And that's why when people age, sometimes they have less energy because this process is going through. So athletic performance. This is one of the reasons I really jumped on board. Besides trusting Stephen K. Scott, who actually his mentoring program helped me to rearrange my mind to get into medical school, to say, I can do this, I want to do this. Well, here are the steps I need to do. So if you have a chance to take this, if you're a member, go through that process, that training. So what I did, I tried out the product, and I was well familiar with glutathione, but I tried it before going to my exercise routine. Now, there's two things I love to do. One is swimming, and one is bicycling. So I took it before a swim. I usually swim about 30 to 40 minutes, and I went 20% further, couple extra laps. Amazing. The first time I took it. 2 days later, I retook the product, went in, bicycled, and I went an extra mile in the same 30 minutes cycling that I did, actually in a controlled area outside, so there are no cars to run me down. And so 2 times in a row. And not only that, I didn't feel like I had any sore muscles, even though I pushed myself further. So that, and the 20 to 40% is based upon observational from the professional trainers. It reduces the lactic acid buildup. So think about if you've ever gone for a long hike, 3 or 4 hours, or ran or playing sports after about an hour or 2 hours of playing football or soccer. And you start to get these sore muscles and that's the lactic acid buildup. Well, our product's been shown to reduce this lactic acid buildup by up to 17%. So it slows down the onset. It's amazing. I mean, if you're a trainer, that should make your eyes pick up and your ears, and up to 60% recovery of that. So it's in every cell. Yeah. So neurotransmitters. So I do a lot of addiction therapies, and that's the class I teach over at the medical school. I was trained on natural methods. Most of the time, we do not need drugs to get people off substances or addictions, but we do need to work on their neurotransmitters and do need to detoxify them. Glutathione is key for this process, for the neurotransmitters. Now, dopamine is made in the neurons. We've heard of that. Low glutathione levels. GSH is a reference to what glutathione is, if you haven't picked up on that. But low glutathione leads to a dopamine degradation, the breakdown of dopamine. If you don't have enough dopamine, the body is going to have some problems. You may have shakes and things like that. What's interesting is increased amounts of dopamine activity, a big surge of that, something you're doing that craves, and things like sugar and gambling and all sorts of things can do that. But just normal activity, you get excited. It causes, increased amounts of dopamine require more glutathione to help keep these pathways clear. And if you don't have enough of the glutathione, then that's going to be a problem from too much dopamine, because it's going to clog it up. Pleasure, rewards, we talked about that. Depletion, and the bottom line, dopamine and serotonin. Now, serotonin is known as the happiness molecule, right? What happens, a competitive inhibition means that the same enzymes used to make and break down dopamine are also used for serotonin. So that's why if one's going down, it's going to affect the other one, and that will go down too. And that's why sometimes when people take drugs, for example, for a psych drug, and I do not prescribe psych drugs as a naturopath, it may raise serotonin, but then the dopamine is going to be out. So nutrition can help balance the body, and that's what we're talking about. Just give the nutrients so the body can do what it's needed. Glutathione is so key for that. So let's move on for that. I could talk for another hour just on that, but my medical students see me rambling down these holes. So the next slide is going to talk about just some proof of that. So again, science-based, I wanted to throw out this article from 2024. There seems to be a push me, pull me about the dates of research. Sometimes say you got to stay current, research has to stay up to date. And that makes sense. But yet sometimes older research is just as relevant. Sometimes it's replaced by newer research. But this article is from 2024 talking about glutathione and dopamine neuron degeneration. Next. So the frequencies, I know Karen mentioned that, and some people work with doing Reiki and other energy processes for total health of the body. There's structural aspects. Then it becomes functional. So functional is when maybe you have a gut problem, but you can't figure out what's going on because all your labs and your imaging's normal. The functional is how these nutrients are being utilized. Are they effective? There's mental, cognitive, the emotional mind, and then the energetic level. So I like to start off and move up on that, and then I want to switch because I want to make sure everyone has time to talk about this, answer some questions, but our hydrostat technology. Now, hydrostat is unique to Neumi. They're using small particles, portions of the cells. Remember, these are small, gets inside the cell, so it's got to be smaller than that. So the cell size is important. And the hydrostat particles reach the surface area of the cells and the tissues, and it gets absorbed in because it's very pure, and there's nothing to clog up and prevent the cells from allowing water to get into it. And the cell surface is about 200 times greater than let's say, try not to confuse you on this one, but it helps the entire molecule get inside the cell by using this molecular encapsulation. It's amazing what it is. And hydrostat takes these clusters of water and brings it inside the cell. And it helps because everything's porous. It could leak in. I mean, it's like sand and glass and everything. The different states of the body have a different porous state, but the cells will allow certain things in. And the smaller the size, the easier it is to get in. Now, if you take a supplement and it's not broken down in the digestive, like glutathione is broken down in the digestive tract, so it loses its effectiveness before it even gets inside the cell. But what happens is it may get to the cell and it's like, oh, wait, we're so big, our molecule, we're trying to force our way into something that's smaller area. It doesn't work. And so the hydrostat is a solution for that. Makes it smaller. They go, oh, plenty of room for us in there, and brings and delivers this essential nutrient. And frequencies, coming back to that, I mentioned the muscle fascia, natural frequencies. You may have heard of Schumann, the grounding. If you go outside and walk on grass or dirt with your bare feet, it helps you connect with nature. I found, and this is something I don't have any scientific knowledge, but I have personal knowledge, where if I take if I take my morning glutathione, I take it in, I take a capful, fill it out. I've already had it today, and if I start talking, I usually switch for 3 minutes. Some people recommend 5 if possible, but I'll take it, go outside and just meditate with nature, sit, gently walk around with the plants and our young growing trees that my wife Winnie and I have been using, building up. And it allows a meditative state and allows me to reconnect. And I just intuitively know it's better for me. I'd like to find out how to do a study on that at one point. But these external frequencies, a shift to the next bullet point, external factors can also cause imbalances. So think of 4 and 5G frequencies and 6G even. They're actually incompatible with these Schumann frequencies of the body. So they're kind of like one nice harmonious and then a disruptor. And one of the byproducts is nitrogen-based oxidation, peroxynitrite. Glutathione has been shown to help protect the cells from these Wi-Fi electromagnetic oxidation that's going on from these frequencies of that. More research is needed to prove that, but it's very good there. Glutathione also protects the cells from solar radiation. So I've taken a lot of flights over to Asia, the transcontinental from the Pacific, across the Pacific and back. And I got family over there. In fact, I was adopted as a brother into the Orang Ulu tribe in Borneo, Malaysia, and very proud of that. And basically, the glutathione is going to protect me from the solar radiation. So when I fly, I like to take this little travel bottle. Here's our normal bottle. Here's the travel bottle. This can go through the TSA, the projection. It's small enough, and take a little bit, protects, and it actually may help with the jet lag too a little bit. And for anybody who's going, if there are any pilots on board or air hostesses or hostess, it really protects your cells. So I just showed you that bottle of glutathione that I love. I take every day, sometimes twice a day if I'm going through a big workout. And the key ingredients inside, glutathione, okay, we've already talked about that, how critical it is. Then there's vitamin C, also helps support the immune system. Remember, we don't make vitamin C in our bodies. Cysteine, which is one of the 3 ingredients to make glutathione. But what's really important for cysteine is that it helps recycle glutathione. So glutathione has what they call a half-life of about 4 hours or so. And then a half-life means after that 4 hours, it's only half as effective, that dose that you took. So usually there's 5 half-lives before it's completely flushed out of the body. If you 4 hours and 5 half-lives, it's going to be less than a full day. So you're going to be taking it and gone. What this cysteine does, and the way Neumi works, is it extends a half-life by about triple of that. So the cysteine helps the recycling through these processes, including that glutathione peroxidase I mentioned earlier. That's part of the process where it keeps the glutathione coming back, recycling in the body so it can maintain in your system and be effective. And we also use curcumin, which is a strong antioxidant that helps support the joints, has anti-inflammatory properties. It's from turmeric. It's incredible there. So here's a picture taken last year at our clubhouse. These are the Tibetan monks. This particular group came to America to tour around for about 2 years and study here. These are the PhD level ones, candidates. And I used to say at another company that, everyone needs glutathione unless you're a Tibetan monk high up in the Himalayas. Well, those monks were kicked out of Tibet. So you think getting kicked out of your home is stressful? Yeah. So even no matter what you do, you deliver your mental and emotional blockages, and you get rid of those and practice all this healthy vegetarian living and all that. They were still excited to try this, and they all wanted to try the Neumi Swish, and then they started spraying the Neumi skin on them. And so they just loved it. And I gave them a few bottles, and they took with them for their road trip back to Kentucky, where they were based out of. So just wanted to share that. Now, I do want to shift a little bit while we got some time. Just talk about the company has multiple products. I hear there's a new product coming out. You'll have to attend the convention and encourage you to do that. The Neumi Hair recently came out last year. It helps strengthen the hair molecules and the strands, helps scalp health, it helps moisture, heat protection, and also the density of the hair follicles of that. And so all these ingredients are working on that. And almost every single one of these things is a nutritional base that you could take internally. And that's really key for that. Let's go to the next one. So we got some of the ingredients in here: cysteine, copper, the amino acids, lysine and arginine. And by the way, just a little side note, arginine and lysine actually can detract from one another. So if you take a bunch of arginine, then you may not have enough lysine. And lysine is an essential amino acid. Without essential being, you need to get it in your diet because our body doesn't make it. And if you take a whole bunch of lysine it helps deplete arginine from the body. And arginine helps nitric oxide, helps open up the blood flows, get more nutrients in here. So where I'm going with this is these nutrients in the body, they're carried on the inside with the increased blood flow, plus from the outside, it allows better support for the blood. The capillaries will open up and allow these nutrients to get inside from that. Next slide. And just, by the way, I've done over half a dozen hair transplants over at the Derm Master there. So I'm familiar, I'm trained on hair a little bit, took some extra courses on that, a lot of extra training for these hair transplants. We'll take these bulbs and stick them in from one part of the body, stick them in another, so the hair will grow. There's 3 major phases going on. Anagen, which is where the hair grows, 2 to 7 years. The catagen, where things start to fall out. And then the telogen phase is sort of a resting phase where it recycles, builds up. It's sort of like planting a tree. Always, it needs a little bit of germination time. And that could last maybe 3 months on average, could be 4, depends upon what cycle. And that's where this interesting aspect comes in. Using this product, it helps stimulate the telogen phase. It helps keeping things going into that. And the bottom 2 pictures, you can see the blue and the veins and the arteries in the bottom, and that's carrying essential nutrients to the melanocytes. It helps give color to the hair. So if you're working with the spray, where you just take this spray on, you can rub it in right after shampoo, just gently rub it in. It's one of the few things I actually say rub in. With the skin, I like to just let it absorb in. And then it works from the outside in. And then I take the glutathione. It helps improve the blood circulation, carrying all the nutrients that are already inside the body to the bulbs here, the follicle bulbs. It's amazing of that. So we got some testimonials coming up. That's just me. Now you may see my picture, a little bit of graying going on. That little balding spot has been improving over, that was like a 2.5 month of use, 3 months of use. It seems to be going good. Problem is, it's costing me more money in haircuts now because the hair's growing a little bit better. Here's an incredible picture of a gentleman in just 2 months. That's incredible. I mean, I when I see that, I love it. A couple of other before and afters. Again, you see the change. There's some product testimonials. There's a lot of images on the Neumi sites and Facebook in Indonesia comes up. And I'd like to point out this slide, how important this is. These are doctors and scientists. They're in active practice or active research, sometimes both. And they're all different types of doctors: chiropractors, naturopaths, PhDs, MDs, DOs, surgeons. And what is so incredible about this? These are all people that are very dedicated to this product because they serve for free. Why do they serve for free? Being a doctor takes a lot of time out of your day, and you cherish your time to do something. But they're so excited about this product and how great it is that they want to volunteer their time, unpaid, to help make sure this product is properly utilized. There's future research, new products are developed, and getting out there. I'm just totally amazed at this. So some certifications: kosher certified. American Brain Council is supporting Neumi Neuro. That's the orange bottle. True Shield. This is something that we recently got, and this is certification for athletes, Olympic athletes, most professional athletes. I think professional baseball is a little different. They need to look at it individually, but they look at the ingredients and cysteine, the benefits of that by itself. Number 3, helps with seasonal allergies. So you may see a supplement called NAC out there, which is a different form of cysteine. People will take that sometimes as a precursor to glutathione or just to help clear out their lungs. And reducing anxiety is so key. Glycine also helps reduce anxiety, which is part of glutathione. But the True Shield basically certifies that what we say on the label is in there, and there's nothing on the label and nothing inside the product that is going to be artificially enhancing the performance. All it does is help the body to work better and not give an extra stimulant like caffeine or something that helps speed up the heart. So NutriSwish and Swish 30, The difference being the professional reseller program. So if you are a doctor's or a member of a doctor's office or a gym, we do have a special program called our professional reseller program. And that's where you can get different labeling of this great product. And
so I appreciate you being here, Dr. Kaplan. I think anybody that's a guest on this call can understand why we are so excited about our product. If you would like to try it, that's the best way to, formulate your own opinion. You can get back to the person that invited you.